because last session it had trouble. Okay, good. And welcome all. I would like to introduce Dr. Lee. Dr. Lee is Professor of Education Technology at the College of Education, Towson University. Her research focuses on STEM plus the education, game-based learning, technology integration, online learning, and cyberbullying. So Dr. Lee, it's over to you.
Oh, okay. Before we start, this is a collaborative work between myself and my dear colleague, my department chair, Dr. Manaz Maulam. Yeah, she actually initiated the whole thing, so I'm just here to support. So, Dr. Maulam, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Yes,
so that
thank you so much, Cheng. Manaz Maulam. I'm a professor of learning design and sciences at the College of Education at Towson University. I'm also department chair of education technology and literacy. Dr. Lee and I have been working since I came to Towson on various projects, including this one that we started 2 years ago, almost, right? A year and a half, maybe. I'll give you the chance to share your screen. It's been a tremendous support from the university to get this up and running.
Can you see the PowerPoint now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
All right. I don't know why I have echo.
You have what? Sorry.
I have echo.
Oh, okay. I'll
maybe if you mute.
Yeah, I'll mute myself. Okay.
Okay, that should go. Could you mute?
I cannot find my mute button. Can someone mute me, please? Is it because I'm sharing screen?
Go to your. Okay, you got it. Thank you. If you go to slide one, it's what we want to do is just to explain why did we start the Towson College of Education Girls to Code Club? What was our vision for that? And a little more information about Girls to Code Club and as an organization and what the club was going to offer, and then what are some of the features of this club, and also Dr. Lee introduced you to what we did in the club and our activities. Second slide. Okay, so why did we do that? Next. We wanted our main goal was underserved girls in computer science, and I think you see the percentage of the high school who teach computer science. So it's a little more now, but okay. We wanted to next inspire our girls to set goals and be mindful of the impact that their career choices will have on their lives, because we know that students who graduate from computer science or science and STEM area get much better chance of having higher salary jobs that usually women stay away. So that's another area that we wanted to make sure that they make a good career choice. Next. We wanted for the club to be at the university because we want the girls to be inspired to think about coming to the college. And we're talking about underserved students that usually do not see themselves as going to the university. So by having the club at the university, we wanted to make sure that they were being exposed to that environment early on so that they can decide for coming to us Next. And then we also wanted to have the club in a way that parents will engage in CS along with their girls, so that they're not just only sending them to us, but they are participating in the activities and being part of it, so that they can inspire the girls and basically battle the issue of cultural biases that we experience in not having girls in the CS programs. Next. And then show girls and parents how CS can help them be creative, because we know that based on the literature, women are more interested in the areas that are helping their communities, and also they can become creative. That's why they choose a lot of arts areas, because they want to be creative. So we want to make sure that they see the connection between CS and the arts and also the serving their community. So we wanted to relate that to the girls so that they get more interested in that. Next. And obviously we wanted to increase the number of women in the computer science. That was the main goal of Girls Who Code Club. And next. The underrepresented women, we know that African American and Latinos are primarily absent in CS, so we wanted to focus on the underrepresented women as well. I don't know if any of our audience have been part of any after-school clubs. Can we hear from anyone? You see, have you been in part of any of the after-school clubs, or have you started anything like that?
I've mentored a number of clubs. I actually am a retired mechanical engineering professor from the Naval Academy, and was active in STEM outreach. So participated in as a mentor in a number of robotics clubs, including underwater robotics, and supported kids developing programming and coding skills.
Wonderful. And anyone else who may have had? I think that's perhaps the clubs have been popular, after school clubs in the public schools, so they may have had that, but as far as I know, it was not very popular to be housed at the university level. So I think that's what made our club a little more unique compared to the other clubs. Next. So knowing about the Girls Who Code Club, this is a nonprofit organization. I think it started several years ago, and now it's providing a free enrichment program to nationally. Basically, you could become part of the club by applying for being part of the club, and then start your own, but they provide all the supports within their website, and then the application and the processes of gathering data from the students and enrolling them in the program as a member. So they have a well-developed materials, tutorials, facilitators, plans, lessons, all that a person may need to be able to run the club. Although we used a lot of their resources, but we didn't limit ourselves to their resources only. Next. So what did we want to have for our TU club? We wanted them to learn computing and have fun and organizing activities. We want to have them build animation, games, apps, other related projects. learn how to use a Scratch or similar programming tools. Well, so far we've been just focusing on a Scratch, and improve communication, teamwork. So we focus very much on the teamwork and improving communication and building confidence, and learn how to solve problems. These are pretty much aligned with the standards for CS. Next. And then we, in addition to that, we wanted to girls to learn from role models by bringing scientists and people who are in a STEM field and they're women, to show them that, you know, that they can be inspired to be in similar position. When they are working in teams, try to build something that is real world and it's their interest area, not our interest area, so that they can engage in something that is appropriate for their communities, and learn how CS could positively impact their own communities and not just be a subject area. So if you go next, in addition to all of these, I think Addie is here to maybe share with you later. We wanted to have an opportunity for our teacher education students to come and practice how to teach CS in K-12 classroom, which is basically the club that we created. So it was a very good environment for them to get used to it. And then next couple of slides just show you the Girls Who Code Club website. You can see that, you know, the facilitator toolkit. So once you become a member of the club, you will have access to all of this. And next, you can see that these are our students right now that are enrolled in the program. So you can just see all of them and they become member of that. When they come to the club, they basically complete a lot of different forms, and parents would be involved in it. So you have a pretty good sense of who they are once they come into the club. And then obviously they have tutorials. They have access to Scratch tutorials that are developed. And then next, there are different levels of tutorial. If you go to next. So these are some advanced tutorials that you can see on the left that would be all kinds of links to different tutorials. Now I'm passing it to Dr. Lee to explain what did we do in this club.
Swimming safety is important for lots of reasons. You could drown if you didn't know how to swim. Ah! You could get hurt in the water or out of the water. Never swim without a lifeguard at the beach or at the pool. Always follow the rules because they are there to keep you safe.
Unmute, Dr. Lee.
If you're speaking, you're muted. We can't hear you, Lee. Dr. Lee. It's up at the top. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Sorry, I don't know why I lost my the whole screen that I can see everybody, so I cannot see your reaction.
Same thing happened to me when I presented, and I'm not user of Zoom, so I understand anyways.
Thanks. But so I just showed you this little project created by one of the girls. I have some questions for you. So the first one is, can you guess which grade this girl was at when she created this project? Just, you can feel free to unmute yourself, or
I'm gonna go with probably second grade, maybe second or third grade, maybe.
second, third grade. Okay. Any other ideas? Okay. My second question then is, how long it took that person to create this, and with what background, like in terms of how much coding she had before she attended our sessions? Just take a while.
I'll guess again. My guess is she came in with little to no background, and it probably took maybe I don't know how long the sessions are, so maybe a day, you know, and then into the second day, and then she was able to do that all on her own, and probably only took an hour or so, if that.
So when you said one day of a session, is that how many hours do you think?
I'll say, you know, at that level, probably 4 hours is about the maximum you can kind of retain them in the middle of a summer. So yeah, so how about 4 hours of, you know, playing and dabbling and everything else, and then it probably took her an hour, maybe an hour and a half one day to put it all together.
Yeah. So this is any other guess, I guess, from the audience? No? Oh, okay. I'll go ahead, reveal the actual answer. The grade level is 4. But yeah, it took, I think, less than 4 hours. We only trained the person maybe just 2 sessions. So, and then she was able to come up with this little project that was, you know, basically on her own, and in the summer when we had that immersion session I'm going to talk about later. So anyways, thank you for that. So I'm going to then talk about our project in some specifics. So the team, who are we? The team include 5 faculty members in the College of Education in Towson University, plus a graduate student. Also, like Dr. Molam talked about, we want to also engage pre-service teachers because we want to create diverse teacher populations as well. So that, you know, up till now, we have engaged 3 undergraduate / pre-service teachers as well, part of the team. We started from initiating the stages. So Dr. Molam started to establish the project, and we started to look at different ways we can use different resources, etc. And then we, at the same time, explored different financial support that could help us build the club. So we got funded by TU Foundation as well as BTU. And then we, at the same time, we started recruiting participants. And after we have recruited, we have started implement this whole Girls Who Code after school club. And when we talked about, when Dr. Molan talked about the goals of the project, she talked about, you know, we try to promote equity and try to include diverse populations into CS education as well as teacher education. So we particularly paid attention to the groups who are particularly underserved. So we collaborated with the Refugee Youth Project of Patterson High School that is particularly, connected to that refugee youth project as well. And we paid close attention to Title I schools, try to recruit as many girls as possible from Title I schools. We try to engage and recruit more girls from those populations by providing free lunch and free transportations to our clubs. When we design the specific program sessions, we know that we want to go beyond just stand there lecture them about computing. We want to make sure we adapt approaches that is learner-centered. So we used project-based approach. And we also looked at coding, but we want to go beyond just coding. We want to focus on coding, CT, computational thinking, as well as collaborating, team building, help them build relationships, network, et cetera, et cetera. We also integrated self-directed learning and try to teach them, not only the cognitive skills, but also metacognitive skills. We emphasized on team building as well. So for example, the project-based approach, when we designed the sessions, we started with drawing students' interested topics, really pique their interest. We asked them to look at their passion about what they're really interested in. For example, some students that even from day one, they said, oh, I'm interested in topics like economic inequality or environment topics or safety issues, etc. We also then give them some guidance in terms of how to connect their passion, connect their interested topics to the coding, to the project we want them to do. So one of the examples we ask them to do is we give them the project of creating a public service announcement that on a topic that they're interested in. And then during that, we build on student skills from easy to difficult. And as you know that we started this club in the spring of 2020, and some students have joined us for all the sessions from spring to now. So some of them have started with, relatively no skills or no background in coding, while others have more skill level, higher skill level on building, coding, and etc. So we build on their skills and made sure we provide different types of lessons that from easy to difficult. And we also made sure we scaffolded them so that when they, for example, when they build public service announcement, the first time they may just create an animation. But then the second club, when they join us in the fall, we may ask them, okay, if you're still interested in that particular topic, then instead of just animate your coding, can you, or your project, can you add a game? Or can you add something else? So that's how we design the projects. So another example here is, again, from a student that we did in the summer of 2020. She looked at economic inequality. I'm going to show here. So as you can see from this project, it was created by I think a ninth grader African-American girl. The coding itself might be, still at the lower level, still just, animating it, etc. But the message, regardless, is very powerful because when we had the conversations in classes, she talked about how important it is for us to make sure the economic inequality issue is addressed. Also, it was during the pandemic, the girls are pretty, lots of issues are appealing at that time for everybody, but girls in, especially like that girl, I believe, was under a lot of stress because of schools are out, everybody was stranded in home and things like that. So she talked about how important it is for us to make sure we bridge the gap on this in economic inequality and make sure the whole world is moving towards a more equalized society. So, and then also when we build the project-based approach, the whole thing is evolving. Not only the students are learning, we as a collective team also are learning as well. Let me say, give you an example to explain what I meant by we also learn and also evolve. Initially, when we started the club, we did not, although we are all actually experts in, online learning, et cetera, we know the importance of ethics and topics about netiquette, et cetera, are so important. We actually teach those, but somehow we just paid too much attention on the other, like we thought about coding, all important, look at students' passions, important, et cetera. Yet, so we did not really talk about, focused on the ethics at the beginning of each club. But there was one incident happened during one of our sessions, and one student was not, behave in a respective way. So the whole team learned the lesson, and we decided, oh my God, this is a good lesson for all of us, including the team members and the students. So we then turned our project into another session that really talked about ethics, how important netiquette is. And then we started to build this lesson into all the clubs we had in the subsequent terms, that every time, the first lesson, we made sure students discuss what appropriate netiquette, what appropriate behaviors we should have on the internet. How should we treat other people even in this virtual environment, even if we cannot see everybody's, their faces or things like that. So that turned out to be a great lesson for all of us. And then, yeah, I said about tailored to different levels, from animation to games, etc. We also want to make sure their students after school programming ideas are connected to their regular everyday school curriculum as well. So we also encourage them to tie their projects into their social studies or STEM topics, etc., etc. And then we ask and encourage them to talk with their teachers before they even start the project, and ask them to talk to their colleagues, to their classmates, and get ideas from their classmates, from their teachers, so that the project makes more sense to everybody. And again, I talked a little bit about we would like to go, focus on coding, but beyond. So we not only look at the topics that are meaningful to the students, tied to important issues the students think, and also we looked at CT, CS, and other thinking skills such as design thinking, such as critical thinking, etc., etc. So in essence, we started the project, asking students to first identify their interested topics. That's from basically day one, session one. We asked them to think about what are some of the topics they're passionate about. And then we ask them to actually sit down and plan and design what they really want to do and say in their project. For example, if they're creating a public announcement, a service announcement, then what are some of the data they would like to talk about? What are some of the messages they want to talk about? How to plan it clearly? How to make sure the messages get across clearly? And then they start to implement by developing and coding, debugging, etc. And then the last phase is ask them to just showcase their work and to celebrate that with everybody, with their relatives, with their parents, with their family, with their friends, etc., etc., so that they can build confidence, they can show their great work to the whole world, basically, and make some impact. So this is one example we used for teaching girls design thinking and planning. For example, this one, we asked them to create a persuasion map before they start coding, before they create their public service announcement, PSA. And this is a model we created by, so this one we focused on the topic of girls should learn to code. And we have the introduction, girls think coding is boring, but we have to change that. So we have sort of like a slogan type of thing. We ask them to choose a topic, use one sentence, and then give some reasons, 1 to 2, maybe 3 reasons why that is important about the topic, like technologies, creative, etc. We also want them to find facts or examples to support their reasons. And then in their conclusion, we want them to create a slogan type of thing, or 1 or 2 things they recommend that to others. So this is something we model to the students, and then they need to create and share that as well. Another thing we highly encourage is the collaboration. Like we said, we want them to build relationships and network as well. So we have tried different ways to help promote collaboration. For example, we try to group students in the same schools in same groups, group them together with similar ages. And for example, Amber and Bonnie are two people, their parents know each other very well, but they did not know each other until the club. And then they actually became very good friends. They collaborated on a project before their parents knew each other. It was so funny. It was a good story. And also siblings, we also encourage them to team together even with their siblings, because that provides them an opportunity to even get to know each other better on some aspects that they probably did not know before. We also encourage them to help each other. For example, the more experienced to help newbies. And this time we actually have created some kind of positions called student helper, who are the people who attended the previous sessions, more technically savvy. We ask them to help our newer students and younger learners. And this is the one that the team built. So this is a game, actually, the Amber and Bonnie worked together. They did not know each other. They created some animations before, and then they decided to go beyond, build on their previous work, and actually created this game. I'm going to just show you a little bit. Great gamer, so I'm not going to continue that, but so you get the idea. They actually built a pretty good game, and they're continuing to modify and make it better. Any questions at the point? Okay, so and then again, beyond coding and academic skills, we try to build their leadership, such as the student helper, build their confidence, make sure they are getting ready for, prepare for their future. So in order to include, like we said, engage more learners and diverse populations, we provided free lunch, transportation, etc. We also invite pre-service teachers as facilitators. This is wonderful video created by one of our facilitators. She is
My name is Ade Tokumba Adekoga, and I've had the opportunity to work with the Towson College of Education Girls Who Code program. Over the past few months, I've learned so much and gained insight into the teaching profession. Initially, I did not have any experience with coding, so I decided to take this on as a learning project. I saw this job as a chance to grow my technological skills, learn from seasoned professionals, and offer my services to girls younger than me. During my time working with Girls Who Code, I've gained so much insight and have developed a greater understanding of coding and have learned many new skills and have been given the chance to work with remarkable educators. I was even granted the opportunity to plan the course alongside the teachers from start to finish. I'm most grateful for being given the chance to lead demonstrations and teach the girls in the club. It was encouraging to see the girls progress in their coding skills as the club went on. And I was also humbled to know that the teachers trusted me enough to teach the sessions and lead the girls. This club has given me experience and confidence that I will need as a future educator, so I will carry everything that I've learned from this program with me into my future classroom. Technology will play a huge role in the future, especially in education. So as a pre-service teacher, I want to be well equipped with the technological skills to help my students succeed, and this program has done that and so much more for me. So I want to encourage all pre-service teachers to join the Girls Who Code Club. It will challenge you, introduce you to the world of coding, and will prepare you for a career in technology and a career in teaching.
So yeah, she will join us later and take any questions or
Already,
you have.
Hi, Dr. Lee.
Oh, great. Yeah, she is excellent. So we will have more opportunities for her to interact with you and if you have questions for her. We also introduced more role models like scientists and CS leaders. For example, we invited Dr. Chris Stevenson, the head of Google CS education program director there, to give the girls conversation guest talk. We also try to involve parents, provide opportunities for them to bond and learn CS and CT so that they can be more involved. We use Edmodo. We give the homework to both parents and students. We also invite the parents to join us on sessions, also for sure the celebration. So for the process, we started in spring to 2020, face-to-face, and we had wonderful 2 sessions, then pandemic hit. So we had to stop. And we were concerned about, because we faced, we aimed at, focused on the marginalized girls. We were worried about their technical diversities, etc. So we did not move to online right away. We just stopped until summer. We started to have the 2-week immersive session, a total of 4 sessions conducted within that 2 weeks. And then in fall, we continued online in fall 2020 and spring 2021. And in fall 2020, we had 10 girls, but then in spring 2021, we had over 150 girls or interested and took our survey, interested survey. And then because we could not provide enough space for those girls, we focused on Title I schools. So for the summer 2020, we had 21 girls joined us, and they're from 3rd to 12th graders. Because it's online, we actually had students, girls from all over the country, from Maryland to Texas. And in total, 14 of PSAs created. The topics, again, you can see that ranging from swimming safety to fighting COVID to save the environment. And when we showcased, over 40 parents, family members, teachers came, joined us, and celebrated this. The feedbacks were overwhelmingly positive. And then again, currently we are, because of the limited capacity, we have engaged probably about around 40 girls involved there. And here are some selected parent feedbacks. For example, this parent said she was very proud of her Scratch project. The daughter feels more certain that she wants to work in computers in the future. Another one says she was very excited. She liked using her creativity. She also said she didn't feel like it was not long enough and she wanted to do more. And this person says she thought that all of the professors who helped her were really nice. She did enjoy hearing from women leaders in the field, and she liked having choices about what she could create. She felt the coding was difficult, but proud that she could finish a mini project in a limited time. It teaches the understanding of work ethic. She also enjoyed the women leader leading the program. This one, another parent said, I was very proud of her persistent working on her PSA. She kept going back to it to improve it. This is another one said she liked the PSA like the most. Kids learn about the current issues or our society is facing, informative, and the PSAs were informative, and they even learned how they can contribute in their small way to make our world better. And then some said, oh, amazing, truly, things like that. And students, some students commented, I love this club. It really changed me. I have been coding ever since I learned about Scratch. Thanks to the GWC teachers, this club has taught me a lot. And thank you to the teachers who taught me how to code. This was very informative. I feel like the skill I learned will be applied in future careers. So I have a lot more projects, but for the sample project, but for the interest of time, I'm not going to show it, but you can definitely play that later if you're interested. So then we have questions for you as well. What are your thoughts related to how we should respond to the needs of CS education? Any suggestions you have? And also Eddie is here. Feel free to ask any questions if you have. Now I'm going to stop sharing so that I can see everybody. Yeah.
So I do have a question. Attica, how are you? So I would like to know, since you're new to all of this, what would you think would be the most important piece for us to get more pre-service teachers to join these clubs, as well as to have some more in the pre-service classes that you have? So what are your thoughts from a student perspective, and what would be helpful as we try to expand?
It's a really good question. I guess pushing the focus on the fact that the future is technology. I feel like a lot of us know that, but people won't really realize it until we get there. So I think that message should be spread around to almost everyone, but especially teachers, because we can see how technical teaching is getting. Like, even if you told me like 2 years ago, I would be learning from online and watching my teachers teach me from online, I wouldn't believe you. But the teaching world is getting very technological, very fast. And there are so many things that I might not know that I'm going to need in my future job. And I could be getting it now. I could be learning about it now. So I think really pressing the fact that the future is technology would really entice a lot of pre-service teachers and educators to want to learn more about technology and coding and anything just STEM related.
So Adito, if I might ask a question. My name is Michael Flynn. I'm with Frostburg State University, and we've been doing a lot with in-service and pre-service teachers. And one of the biggest things that I'm finding with the pre-service teachers is this initial kind of, well, I won't need this. And then as you begin to talk to them and you peel back the layers of this is computational thinking, so on and so forth, many of them realize that, okay, gee, Maryland's going to require this, so I guess we need to learn this. You obviously embraced this and you said, yeah, okay, I want to do this. Let's do this. I understand the importance. And trust me, the more you go through it, the more fun it is, and the more fun you're going to have with your students. But here's the question. I'm sure you know a lot of students that were resistant as well. So that's a challenge for somebody like me. I'm a computer science professor. How can we, in computer science and the College of Education faculty, how can we help lower that whatever it is, that fear that I'm not going to do it, that I'm overburdened with way too many other standards and laws and all the other stuff that I truly feel for you, and I'm very proud that you're going through all this. But how do we reach those students, those pre-service students who are like, I don't have room for another thing in my mind, let alone learning to program. So how can we get through to this?
Just like Dr. Lee and Dr. Moylam emphasized during the presentation, if you can get pre-service teachers to connect their pre-existing hobbies, anything that they're interested with, their passions to coding, I think that's just like one way of getting them through the door, because I know I came in here with zero experience of any coding, but when I like practiced tutorials on my own and integrated it with topics and things that I was interested in, it made it more enjoyable, a lot more fun. I felt more motivated to finish a project and learn how to code, learn how to code this specific thing so that I can teach it later. I really think pushing the importance of this is it's that coding isn't a standalone thing. It's something that you can incorporate into other things you enjoy doing. So I know getting people interested isn't easy, but I think that's one way to really get people right through the door, just to even consider learning how to code.
So I have a question. Would you be interested in being on a panel? If I could get a panel of several students like you together, and bringing them to Meg, the chair of
The steering committee,
yeah, the steering committee for what? Maryland something.
Computing Education Steering
Yeah,
Committee.
that. And this would be to talk to higher education people and industry folks. Would you be willing to be like on a panel to talk to these folks? Just kind of share your experiences and stuff?
I'm honored. Yes, I would not mind that at all.
Well, it just kind of hit me. I was like, this is a great way. Why are we doing this in our own little silo over here? I get students involved in everything else. So if you're willing to volunteer, and don't worry, I can probably get a few other people, and I'm sure you can as well. And I think that might be a neat idea. So thank you.
I would love that. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, thanks. And Addie is our gem. We really are lucky to have her with us, and she has done such a wonderful job, and we see her progress as well. She came in as a sort of a typical, like, I guess not freshman. Addie, were you just finished your freshman year, right?
Yes, I was in the first half of my sophomore year.
Right, shy and soft talking, but then she built such a wonderful confidence. Now she's able to actually facilitate parts of our sessions, and her technical skills has significantly improved. It's just amazing to see her progress. And it also provides our students, especially those minority students, a wonderful role model to see how, if Addie can do it, then I probably can do it too. I should probably do this, being persistent and learn and etc. So that's just a wonderful, and thank you again, Addie. We're just so proud to have you.
Yeah, well, thank you. I had so many great facilitators to lead me and show me the way. So thank you.
Also, I should add that Addie is so committed. I think she's been attending every single planning sessions that we have as a facilitator. So we meet every other week before we run our sessions on Saturdays, and she's been helping us with the planning and bringing the students' perspective to it. So it's been tremendous help for us. And in addition, for her, perhaps learning how we are going through the planning process for teaching, and learning that would be the same for her when she starts teaching. So I think that's a great experience for her and for us to have a very unique perspective on our team.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Addie. I mean, we've seen that across the state as we're taking high school teachers from every content discipline and training them up to do introductory computing classes in order to get computing in every high school. And we found that those were that most hesitant or most resistant, but then they embraced it, are actually the best recruiting tools we have to work with our guidance counselors across the state to bring in more of our underrepresented students across the board. So thank you, Addie, and continue on. And we're so excited to see what you'll do next. And you'll be there for a few more years, which is great for Towson. And we're happy to have you in Maryland. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Are you going to go after your computer science praxis?
Wow. I'm not.
You should sincerely consider it. I sat in on something earlier today, and you keep just chipping away at. You got plenty of time. That's why I'm mentioning it now, right? You got plenty of time. You just keep chipping away at a little bit. You remember this. This is what I tell everybody. We're not out to make you a computer scientist. We're out to help you teach computer science and computational thinking, right? And there is a difference, right? And that praxis, I've been looking at it over, when I first saw it myself, I've been a professor of computer science for 20 years. I was like, what on earth are they doing? And then, as you look at it and you get familiar with the way in which I do equals, which I don't know why they don't use an equals, but the way they insert things into a variable and stuff like that, it's like, oh, okay, well, that's not bad. So after you get that initial praxis, please keep that in the back of your mind. Make yourself a unicorn for that stuff.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll definitely consider that because I didn't have any thought at all, but thank you for bringing that up.
And MCCE has been conducting workshops. I don't know if we've been doing, have you been doing in-service or pre-service? So pre-service
In
workshops.
service, Mike, but we can think about how we can
Yeah.
expand.
How
Yeah,
we could
but
do a
that-
pre-service.
Yeah.
How we could do a pre-service to prepare you for that test. So all it takes is an interest, and hey, you already got that. So
Right. So in the state of Maryland, once you have whatever discipline you're going for your praxis initial certification, then you can add the endorsement by either taking this praxis exam, which is another exam, which you'll get familiar with the other praxis exams you need to take soon, or you can take 30 credit hours. So the easiest of the two and the one that's very comprehensive is to take that praxis exam. So that's what he's saying is if you're preparing yourself a little by little, even now as a freshman, you'll be ready for your other exams through all your coursework. And this, you might need to do more on your own until they have some more things in place, but it would make you very marketable no matter which level, because we are doing pre-K to 12 across the board, across the state, and looking for teachers like you to be out there and help us. So that's a great idea. And well, Mike will work on the other idea.
yeah, and I know we're out of time, but I'll tap in this. This fits with what I was talking about with a colleague of mine from a community college. I said we should start talking about this at the community college to bit by bit get in the mindset of why don't you just go ahead and get that praxis, and now you can become a unicorn and you can do whatever you want to do, right? So all right.
Yeah, and Mike, we do have those mini grants for the community colleges out there already. So I don't know if you've seen that, but we'll definitely make sure you're connected there too.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you so much for